Thank you for joining us and watching our episode on understanding gentle parenting with Vanessa and Alex. Today, I'm joined by Iman, who's a child behavior specialist, to respond to and talk about a little bit about the podcast that we talked about and understand a little bit better on what gentle parenting is. Hello, Iman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So let's dig right into it. I just want to preface by saying that, which I also said in the podcast, that gentle parenting for me personally is really a big topic. I think we can agree that it's a big topic for the whole world. But I was wondering if you could help me understand it better, identify, maybe why all of a sudden it's become such this huge trend, and what exactly does it mean? Like, what does it entail?
Mhm. So I'd like to start by saying that one of the most misconception of what gentle parenting is that the parent always has to be smiling and happy and never screaming, and that the child can do what he wants when he wants.
Mhm.
But this is not gentle parenting. This is actually permissive parenting.
Okay.
Um, we also call it jellyfish
Oh,
parenting
interesting.
because it's actually the jellyfish is actually very soft and there's no structure.
Okay.
So in that kind of parenting, there's no boundaries, and um, the parents don't follow through when he says what he wants to
Yeah.
do. Um, so permissive parenting is not what we're aiming when
Right.
we're practicing gentle parenting.
Okay.
So, gentle parenting relies on four things:
Okay.
empathy, respect, understanding, and setting clear boundaries.
Okay.
Right. We're also talking about the concept of firm and fair. Firm because we have boundaries and there's limits that we're putting to our child, and fair because we are taking into consideration our child age, where he's at his in his development. We're also taking into consideration his personality as well. So we're firm and fair,
Okay.
and there's also flexibility, but we also have some consistency in the way we're parenting with our child.
Okay. So I think you're gonna have to take me through all that, like
Yeah,
one by one,
yeah.
because for me, I understand what you're saying. It's
Mhm,
just that when I first gave birth to Maya, like I've told everybody, it was the pandemic, and the introduction to gentle parenting was through social media.
mhm.
And it wasn't someone like you, saying, "Oh, well, these are the four um, elements of social media. Let's go through each of them." Like, I get social media has to be a little bit more captivating. But for me, it was like someone shouting in my face, don't say no, don't do this. This is how you gentle parent. And if I'm not doing it this way, then I'm not being a gentle parent. And so the anxiety started. So I really want to take the time to go through each step to understand what gentle parenting really consists of,
Mhm.
because I don't think it was really ever explained to me on social media. And I didn't really, I wasn't at a point where I had time to Google and read, what each element was.
Right.
So let's go back. So you said first empathy.
Yeah.
So empathizing with your kids. So what does that look like, for example?
Well, for example, this is, putting yourself in your child's shoes, right? So knowing then that when you're 2-year-old and you're doing a tantrum because you don't want to put shoes to go outside,
Right.
well, you kind of tell yourself, if I was 2-year-old, I would probably react that way as well,
Okay.
right? So it's understanding your child, putting yourself into his little body, and also taking his emotions into consideration, his feelings into consideration,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Giving him space to actually express what he's feeling at
Okay.
that moment,
Okay.
and you know, telling yourself it's this is completely normal
Right.
behavior for a 2-year-old,
Right.
right?
Okay. Perfect.
So
That's
that would be
clear.
empathy, right?
Perfect. What was the second one?
Understanding.
Okay. So tell me
So a
about what.
big part of practicing gentle parenting I think, is also to understand um, child development,
Mhm.
understanding where your child is, understand that his brain is not mature.
Right.
So that's also putting yourself. That's also easier for you to be empathic
Yeah,
because you
empathetic. Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Um, so it's understanding your child, but it's also understanding yourself,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Understanding, why am I reacting when my child is doing this?
Right.
Um, where are my triggers?
Yeah.
Why do I have those triggers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is why also it's something that's not easy to practice because it takes a lot of self-reflection, trying to control your child
Yeah.
for him to behave the
The way
way
you
you
want.
want him to behave.
Mhm.
It's also a lot of, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? Is there something I need to learn? Is there something I'm doing that I should not be doing? Why
Mhm.
am I reacting this way? So
Yeah.
understanding your child, but also understanding yourself, where you're coming from.
And on that point, understanding your child, every age they have their own developmental thing going on. But and correct me if I'm wrong, but let's say from 2 to 4 or whatever, we're kind of in the same basket, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
But what is going on in the brain? Like why can't, because us as parents, you know, we expect them to just listen. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know what's going on in their brain that they're not able developmentally yet. They're not, because I think that's a very important part, because once I learned that, a tantrum is developmentally appropriate, that made me feel better, because when she's having a tantrum, it's not a reflection on my parenting. And
100%.
that really helped me
A
understand,
100%.
this is normal. This is
Yeah.
all kids. This is
Yeah.
not just my kid. It's not
Yeah.
anything I'm doing wrong. So what's
Mhm.
going on in their head? Like why aren't they not developmentally ready yet to
Mhm.
to I don't know, to listen or to say no or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, they're just learning to be humans,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're learning to understand the world through our parenting, through us, right? And they're testing limits. They want to know, okay, can I do this? Can
Mhm.
I not do this? Um, like, let me give you an example.
Yes.
For example, if you tell your child not to put his glass of water on the table
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's gonna fall,
Right.
right? So he's like, okay, but what if I put it here? Or what if I put it in the middle of the table?
Mhm.
Or what if I put it on the floor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because they want to understand. They're trying to understand what's going on, right? So it's not bad intention.
No.
It's just, I'm just having fun and trying to understand what's around me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And in the brain, there's three parts. There's the cerebellum,
Okay.
which is the most like the oldest part of the brain, and that part of the brain is um, common to all living species, and it's actually the part where the brain, it has the flight, freeze, and fight response,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
for our survival.
Yes.
So that's one of the parts.
Okay.
And then there's emotional brain,
Okay.
right? And our child emotional brain, this is the part of the brain that's the most le plus réactif.
The most reactive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So this is also why children has so many emotions, right? You say no to one thing and then it's like explosion of emotion, because that part of the brain is what's um
Like
how do
at
you
the
say,
forefront. Like that's what's going to get triggered the first.
exactly,
Got it.
right? Because the other part of the brain, which is the prefrontal or
Yeah.
neocortex,
Prefrontal cortex. Yeah.
exactly, is not mature,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
There you go. So
Yeah.
it's when the parent is there for the child, and when the parent is available and ready to receive all that emotion, and the
Uh-huh.
parent is calm,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is where that part of brain gets developed, right?
Okay. Okay.
So this is why children are probably, in our point of view, not listening
Yeah.
and having tantrums
Yeah.
and screaming
Yeah.
and hitting and biting and all those behaviors where we're like, why are you doing
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Well, it's because the brain
It's not
is there.
developed.
It's not developed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So when you understand that, I think it's easier,
Yes.
right, to
Absolutely.
practice gentle parenting because you're like, it's not his fault.
Yep.
This is completely normal for him,
Exactly.
right? If
Yeah.
my brain was his brain,
Yeah.
I would do the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the next element? So we did empathy, understanding,
Yeah. Empathy, understanding, respect,
respect.
obviously. So
So
respecting your child,
right.
right? So that tells us that probably punishment is not a good option,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
Or, hitting, shaming, what else? Spanking,
Yeah. Yeah.
blaming,
Yeah.
all of that is not respectful for your child,
Okay.
right? As adults, we don't want people to do that to us.
Right.
So I don't see why we would do that to our child as
Okay.
well.
All right. Clear. And the fourth one?
Setting clear boundaries,
Okay.
right? So this is what I said at the beginning. Usually, gentle parenting we think is
Permission.
permissive parenting, but it is not because yes, we are gentle. And the word gentle as well sometimes can be confusing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Positive parenting, we always have to be
Yeah.
positive and smiling,
Yeah.
or gentle, we have to be talking with a quiet voice. Yes, but we also have limits. We also have boundaries that are clear to us and to our child. Does that mean that our child is always going to respect that boundary? No, but it is there, and we try as possible to keep it there, right? So, for example, what could be a boundary in the house? It can be there's no hitting. We're not hitting your sister or your brother, right? So when this happens, when you are hitting, um, there's a consequence,
Okay. Which is not a
right?
punishment.
Which is not a punishment. Yeah.
Okay. So like I'm gonna have to sorry, if you continue hitting your sister, I'm gonna have to take your sister to another room, or I'm gonna have to take you to another room. Is
Yeah.
that adequate?
Or you can, you're gonna be sitting on the couch because I need you to calm your body,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But then that's a good option. But then again, there's always a reason why your child is hitting.
Yes.
So what's the
Exactly.
reason behind his
I don't
behavior,
know. Iman,
right?
so I just want Okay, perfect. Amazing. So we've established the four. I just have so much to say.
Yes.
So we've established the four. So empathy, respect, understanding, and boundaries.
Mhm.
Got it. So as we're talking and as we're getting into it, now we're getting into the why.
Mhm.
And it's like I just feel like I'm wearing too many hats. Like I'm
Mhm.
a mom, now I have to be a psychologist, now I have to self-regulate myself.
Mhm.
Now I like it's too much. It's too much.
Mhm.
So like what do I do? Do I hire a psychologist? Like what do I do?
No.
Because I don't think I can physically do all this mental work on
Yeah.
top of having the mental load of getting the house running and the
Mhm.
dinners and like it's too much.
Yeah.
So this is where the anxiety starts,
Mhm. Mhm.
because yes, I want to understand why, but like I have two kids, it's not just one, and I have to. So tell me, understanding why they're hitting, or tell me how deep do I have to scratch to understand why their behavior is like this? Because there's a split, like a tantrum is developmentally appropriate.
Yes.
But now do I have to ask myself, why is this tantrum happening? Or like, is there something behind the tantrum? Is there a reason she doesn't want to put her shoes on and she's screaming her head off? Is it something I said that 10 days before? Like, do I have to start thinking like that?
Not necessarily, but it's always, those moments, not all the time.
Okay.
Don't put too much
Right.
pressure, not all the
Exactly.
time, but if there's something that's repeating,
Okay.
right? You have to ask yourself, okay, there's something that my child needs to learn. It's always about learning new behaviors, learning new ways of doing things. Maybe there's something he's lacking that he needs in that specific situation.
Okay.
For example, he's hitting his sister or
Mm-hmm.
brother
Mm-hmm.
um, because they were playing with a toy, for example. Okay, so you put your child on the sofa and you
Mm-hmm.
ask him to calm down
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to, put the situation in, just how do you say that?
Tame
Like
the situation.
exactly
Yeah.
tame the
Yeah.
situation. Well, if that's repeating every day, at one point you have to ask yourself, okay, maybe there's something I can do,
Okay. Okay, so
right?
repetition. So
Repetition.
that is what I have to look for. It's repetition. So it's not every time there's a meltdown, oh my God, there's something I did wrong.
No.
Okay, so repetition is something that you have to look for. If there's a pattern, then
Yeah,
maybe there's something behind it. Okay,
exactly.
that helps. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, in that situation, it could be language,
Okay.
right? He's not there yet to ask for the toy,
Ah,
right? So then at that point, you can start modeling what he can say in those situations,
okay.
right?
Okay.
So empathy again, right? Validate his emotions. You can say something like, I can see that you wanted to play with the ball that your sister had,
Yeah.
right? But it's okay to be mad, right? But you can't grab the toy from your sister's hand. You can say, "Can I have the ball, please?"
Mm-hmm.
So then you're just showing him what he can do
Got
next
it.
time, right? And then again, it's practice, practice.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not because you said it once that the next morning he's gonna say,
No,
"Hey, no."
certainly
But
not.
we're getting there,
Okay.
right? And it gives us a sense of control in that situation because you understand what's going
Yeah.
on. You understand, okay, maybe he's having difficulty communicating what he wants to say.
Mm-hmm.
So if that happens, I'll take my child. I ask him to calm down because when my child is having a tantrum, there's no way of like doing anything
Nothing.
for me and him. It's just like, "Mm."
Yeah.
So let's just calm ourselves. And then when he's calm and I'm calm, you can propose that as solution
Okay.
and repeat and repeat.
And also, while I'm thinking, when what I said on the podcast was for me, gentle parenting was you have to gentle parent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And on the days that you do lose it, you've like scarred your child. Like you've it's one checked in the wrong direction, you know? So I just want to understand better, blow ups obviously happen. I do lose it because, I can gentle parent once,
Yeah.
twice, three times, four at the fifth time in the span of 20 minutes, like I'm gonna explode. So is that allowed?
Okay, it's such a misconception because it's like saying, because I think that's also something we think. It's like saying, if I practice gentle parenting, my child is not gonna have any problems anymore.
Yes.
No. No.
Okay.
Your child is gonna have tantrum because this is
I
completely
know.
normal. So it's the same thing as saying, if I scream or if I lose
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Your shit.
I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if I can
fine.
say
You can
that,
say
my
shit. It's
shit,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
It means that I'm not a good gentle parenting and I'm screwing my
Yeah.
child, and he's not gonna be a good child when he
Correct.
grow up. No.
Okay.
You're a parent, you are going to scream and you have triggers,
Mhm.
like, and especially when your own kids, they know exactly where to. There's like a parent button that your
Mhm.
kids know where
Mhm.
to,
Push.
push.
Yeah.
They know exactly where to push.
Yes.
So it's completely normal that you're gonna, scream and like lose patience. And some days you're just gonna be like, this was all over the place. And
Right.
like, I
I
don't
feel
know what happened.
guilty. I feel
And
super
then you feel
guilty.
guilty. And
Yeah.
it's okay to feel guilty as long as you don't feel guilt like, you feel guilty, obviously, it's a normal, emotion to
Mhm.
feel as a parent
Mhm.
when your intention is to be better,
Mhm.
right? And, just set new intention for the next day and tell yourself that you're human, right?
Yeah.
So it's like exactly, like, kids are gonna have tantrums and parents are gonna lose, and lose patience,
Yeah.
and it's completely normal.
Yeah.
It's part of parenting. It's part of life, right?
And on that point, I learned through social media and different other people that, you know, you're allowed to scream, you're allowed to lose it, you're human, just like everything you just said. But as long as you repair.
Mhm.
And I want to kind of focus on that point because growing up, there was no way, and we've talked about it on the podcast, there's no way that, I think Alex and I both shared this common this common not interest, this common like this common what? This common point.
Yeah.
Alex and I shared this common point how our parents would apologizing to a child is was unheard of.
Yes.
You don't that's not something that they did.
Yeah.
And so I just want to understand that, does repair really go a long way? Because it's not something that you see instantaneously, but whenever I get angry, I always try to say, I'm sorry that, I got frustrated, or I'm sorry that I yelled at you. That wasn't your fault. That was me. I'm working on, being more calm, whatever.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
When I say that to my 3.5-year-old, I I I can't know if she's understanding what I'm telling her.
Mhm.
But what I do see is that she apologizes to me all the time, and I feel bad about it. She's like, she'll have a tantrum, she will not listen, it'll be an explosion, and then she'll come up to me and she'll say, "I'm sorry that I blah 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 blah." So, am I by repair, am I modeling to her that you have to apologize for everything all the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know what
So
you mean.
let's just tackle the first question. So is repair absolutely something that you should be doing after you lose your crap?
Mhm, mhm. I think repair is a good way,
Okay.
especially when it was like you
Intense.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, it was intense, right?
Yeah.
It's really something that you're like, "Ooh, I feel really bad. Like I went too far,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think repair is good because it's showing your child that you're human and
Okay.
there's things you do that, you regret. And it's also part of, the four aspects of gentle parenting. Respect. You're respecting your child and you're telling him, mommy was screaming and mommy doesn't like screaming, right? Mommy feels bad when she's screaming at you, and I'll try not to scream next time, right? So I think it's a good way of doing things. But then again, there's always a balance, right? If you're always repairing everything every day, just little things you're doing, and you're always saying, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry. Maybe it's like going into
Yeah.
another extreme,
Yeah.
right? So I would say repair when it's something that you feel like it's been, you know, too
Overboard.
intense,
Okay.
overboard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And also in terms of like the pressures of gentle parenting,
Hmm.
are we learned from our parents who
Hmm.
I feel just kind of had kids, did their best and moved on. Like there wasn't any research. I can speak for my parents, I don't
Hmm.
know, but it seems
Hmm.
to be a common theme
Right.
how I think it's authoritative parenting was how we were brought up, and now we have to completely change and rewire our brains and unlearn the way we were parented and relearn all this information at the same time regulating our emotions. It's really difficult.
Hmm.
So I think that we're in a time now, in a generation where, you know, the anxieties and the pressures are much stronger than they were in previous generations.
Hmm.
Um, and I just want somebody to tell me, not like you've got this, mama, or like, because nobody knows, like, if I got this really, they don't know me. But I want to stop feeling so guilty and so unconfident, like I feel I'm always questioning, y- should I say this? Should I not say this? Is this the right way? Is it, so how do like is there anything that can be done or said for moms, for us, to help us navigate this philosophy in a better way and not put so much pressure on ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah. You're not the first one who says that.
Mhm.
And this is something I'm actually really thinking into. I'm like, is it, are we putting ourselves too much pressure,
Mhm.
right? I feel like gentle parenting is becoming something like this is the only way we should,
Yeah, it's the best way.
it's the best
Yeah,
way, and if we're not doing this, well, we're not doing things
correct.
correctly, and it's kind of something like à la mode,
Yeah, trendy. Yeah.
trendy,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's putting a lot of pressure on parents, and social media is not helping at all because there's way too much information out there. And even if we know that what we're seeing on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok
Right.
or, even if we know that what they're showing, whoever we're following, is only they're only showing us, what they want to show us,
Yeah.
right? The perfect part of what they're doing. And even if they're showing like, well, I'm doing gentle parenting and this is my child having a tantrum and they're showing that, they're also showing just like the cute tantrum of their child and
Mhm.
the perfect way they
Yeah.
they they responded to that tantrum,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. They're not
So,
in the moment really.
but not in the moment
Yeah.
really, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be very, very careful with social media and what we're consuming as information. Um, and it's like I would say gentle parenting. First of all, you're never not a gentle parent. There's always a part of you or a part of what you've received from your parents that is already part of that philosophy, right? And I'd like to say as well that I don't think it's something new. I think it's always been there somehow. Um, but we're just relearning, yes. And while we're relearning, it just makes sense somehow, right? It's not easy, but
Mhm.
it does make sense
Yes,
when you
absolutely.
talk about respecting your
Of
child,
course.
empathy, understanding where your child is, that tantrum are normal. All of that makes sense,
Right.
right? It's logic.
Yeah, it's evolution. Like we are at a time where we're gaining more information, we're learning more about parenting, so it only makes sense that we have this, bombardment of information. Like it's evolution. It's normal. I get that. And I think that understanding, just like you said, where your child is and what's going through their brain. And like we said before, this behavior is developmentally appropriate really
Mhm.
helps
Mhm. Mhm.
because it just, it, like I said, it's not a reflection on my parenting. But like you said, there's going to be genetics also involved and the way that I was brought up,
Mhm.
so it's very it's hard to manage expectations and to manage other people's expectations, like for the older generation, a well-behaved child is a child that, sits at the table, eats with their fork, doesn't eat with their hands, doesn't have a tantrum, pretty much doesn't say anything,
Mhm.
like a
Mhm.
like a queen. That's a
Right.
well-behaved child.
Right.
So to move away from that thinking
Yeah.
is really hard, and especially when you are being faced with other people, the older generation telling you, "Why don't you discipline your kid and spank them and send them to the how else are they gonna understand?"
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you also not on top of everything I've mentioned before, you also have to educate other people around you, your
Yeah.
family members, on why you're parenting this way. It's exhausting,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
So I
100%.
think that, people like you and Dr. Becky, for example, I'm sure I don't know, can I
Yes.
say that?
Yes.
I find are very helpful because they're explaining to us what is going on and giving us strategies on how to navigate those situations. Other things on social media that are, just saying you shouldn't be doing this, point, is very triggering.
Mhm.
So I think information is very helpful. I think that it can lead us in the right direction. But I think, like you said, there has to be some sort of understanding, for lack of a better word, for the parents as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
And yeah, social media, it's they have a limit of what they can tell us, or social media as well. We have to understand that it's really to you know
get
um
a point across.
yeah,
Yeah.
get a point across and get our attention as well,
Yeah.
right? So you look at little videos, but like you have to be straightforward, and it's hard to like actually really explain the
For
whole
sure.
situation in a
For
short
sure.
video or in a short post,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
yeah. So we have to
And
understand that as well.
unfortunately, that's the way we're getting our information these days. I mean, we're not going to. except for on this podcast. Anyway, okay, well, I think that I feel much better after this talk, quite frankly.
Good.
And I think that, later on as time goes by and we dig deeper into specific behaviors together, I
Right.
think it's going to help me also understand things that I can say, things that I can do, and also things that you can tell me to make me feel better on the way I'm parenting my kid. So I
Mhm.
really appreciate you being here, and thank you very much for all your input. It was
Thank
really
you
great.
so much. I had an amazing time. Thank you.